Sorry, I lied. Hey you guys, and welcome back to Around the Way Gardeners. If you are new here, my name is Latanya. I'm so happy to have you joining us today. And if you are a subscriber and you are coming back and you watched last week's video, I'm just gonna start off by saying, sorry, I lied. In last week's video, I said,
and so you'll see what this looks like for the next week's video.
I'm not gonna do a landscaping project, unfortunately. It rained all week, or it's been too hot, or both. And normally, if we plan to do a landscaping project in the summer, it will be early in the morning or later in the evening. And today it rains early this morning. It's gonna rain later this evening, and it is like inferno hot out here. I probably shouldn't be out here right now, but I am under this big shade umbrella. Got my hat on and I got all my PF protecting me. So I'm going to get through the video because I love hanging out with you guys, and I didn't want to leave you hanging and give you a community post that says sorry, see you next week. So here we are, and I thought I have not really got into the flowers that I've grown from seed this year. I know you've seen the zinnias, and there will be loads of zinnias in this video, and so if you love zinnias, you're gonna love this video if I make it through and don't melt. But I've grown so many different flowers from seed, and I also wanted to show you the front yard where it's full of perennials, and I love it, and I think that you'll enjoy it. If you haven't already, don't forget to like and subscribe. Please leave me a comment and tell me that you forgive me for not doing a landscaping project, because I know you guys love landscaping projects. So, but we will get to the landscaping projects. I've also decided that I'm not even gonna say what I'm gonna do next week, because I don't know, because the weather is so unpredictable, and it is August and we don't know like what's gonna happen next week, but I will be back. At least I will say that. I'm just gonna shut up right now, because the sooner we get into the video, the sooner I'll be able to get out of this heat. I unintentionally planted all these beautiful zinnias right outside my kitchen window. My kitchen island is directly in front of the backyard. And so whenever I'm prepping or cooking, it's there. It's also right outside my kitchen table. So when I'm eating, I'm also observing. I get to see my flowers blooming and the bees pollinating, the butterflies show up. Sometimes the birds, they come for a little peck. And it reminds me of one of the reasons why God led me into gardening. Every time I see the butterflies or the birds, the bees, it reminds me that life is still happening outside of me, outside of what I'm feeling, outside of the world, outside of what's happening. That we all still here and we have a chance, because the bees are still pollinating, the butterflies are still flapping their wings, the birds are still going about their day. The world is still moving in the way that God intended for that moment that I'm observing. And I don't know about you, but I need those reminders so often. And God knew that. I was so busy in the world. I was so agitated, so anxious. I had so much anxiety. I was consistently and constantly moving about, always worrying about the next thing. Instead of putting one foot in front of me, I was running into what's next. And God slowed me down by leading me into gardening, despite my resistance, despite my lack of understanding or knowledge of it, despite the fact that I had no patience to watch a flower bloom
or to fertilize it, consistently water it, or to just observe it and leave it alone and let it do what it does. I had no idea that just planting seeds would contribute to so many things, would contribute to the bees and the butterfly and birds and all the bugs and the insects that survive because of the environment. I had no idea that I would be contributing to such a thing. For me, in the beginning, it was about food. And it's not that it's not about food, but it was about what I could get from. But when I started to plant flowers, I realized that it was about what I could actually also give to the environment. Giving back, not just receiving. And that's such a huge reminder for me this year. That is something I feel like I learned when it comes to nature. I feel like we often, we hike, we snowboard, we climb, we just like to be in it, in the lake and in the ocean, enjoying the sand. But it's not just something for us to take. It's also about what we can give, how we can contribute to the environment that we live in so that it continues to grow and be nourished. If you continue to take, you leave an empty space where something once was. But if you take a little and give a little, there's always something left. And I guess that's why planting the flowers were so unintentional. I had no plans. I had no expectations. I really just planted a seed. I was led. I never wanted an overgrown environment. I am used to having a plan. I'm used to things being well manicured and organized and intentional. But when I planted the zinnia seeds especially, I had no intention or expectations because I didn't know that they would take over and grow tall and wide and offer so much to everything around it, including me, including my neighbor when she looks out the window and she gets to enjoy the different colors when the wind blows and they're just there. When I cut the flowers and they're just sitting on my island every day or in a little vase in my front door, so when people come in, they are greeted by something that God created. Just a reminder to smile. Just a reminder to know that life is so much more than how you feel in a moment, what you're going through, who you lost. It's a reminder that we should also be doing something. We have a purpose just like the bees. We have a purpose just like the butterflies. We have a purpose just like the birds. And they are still doing what they're supposed to do in this disruptive and chaotic world and environment that we have created. They're still feeding their young. The bees are still producing honey. They haven't stopped to worry, to have anxiety, to be afraid. They continue to live in the purpose in which God created them. And so when I sit in my garden and I watch the resilience of everything, it gives me that same hope and feeling. It gives me the encouragement that I need to continue to do what God intended me to do every day, despite the failures, the letdown, the mistakes, the heartaches. It reminds me that I'm more than all of that. And I have to continue to be that, regardless. Shortly after I finish recording this video, my son receives some news that affects someone so close to him. And it left me thinking, how do you move past that? How do you move on with your day and with your life? And it reminded me that you have to. Not without sadness, not without empathy, not without caring or feeling all the things that are natural to us, but we have to. We have to move on. We have to have resilience. We have to continue in the purpose in which God intended. And for some strange reason, I feel like that somebody that is watching today may also need that reminder. And I hope that this was it for